Well, that is a little over time. Sorry about that. And god damn it, my things got messed up again. There we go. The painful aspects of windowed gaming. But it's fine. In any case, greetings. Welcome to the Strangenet. My name is Ojal. I am, have been, and always will be your very own stranger. And today we're gonna continue on with Cultist Simulator. So, last time we got into trouble a couple of times. And also started exploring the Histories of the Forgotten Chronicles. And, of course, today we will be continuing that, and maybe actually finally solving this goddamn riddle. I know it's one of these three, it's probably not, come to think of it, but guess we'll find out. They really like my iron coin, don't they? I'm not sure how to feel about that. I suppose the first thing we should try is actually figure out which one of these three we're going to. The favorite stories of the Comte de Ravelin claim that they descend from the first Sun King. Other stories have them prowling the forest in wolf shape. They are long gone. Their rotting chateau remains. Not all its malignities have been uncovered. Something tells me I might want to bring some lantern for that. Oh, didn't mean to move that. Let's also fulfill our requests for lore. A hireling. Not that interested, actually. And now we have another forbidden epic. Well, I might as well continue gathering those. Contentment, I can do a summoning with, I believe. Get some of the voiceless dead on side. Not want that either. take the icy atmosphere. Okay. So this series is actually incomplete, and I should try to complete it. No, it's right of the map's edge that I want. I like Aveline Malical. No, I don't want to do the end is beautiful. That seems like a great way of getting in trouble. Strange Streets by Moonlight. That'll do. Subvert that into hearts. Get my health back. Of course you're being a dick. Why wouldn't you be? Let's summon one of the voiceless dead. Alright, what does the good doctor want? While we sell off that bronze coin he gave us. Secret Histories, very substantial. Good thing we have Secret Histories, very substantial. How about we sacrifice this motherfucker to refresh himself? Weird? Yes. But, nobody said you can't sacrifice a voiceless dead to summon a voiceless dead. Well, that's 2 voiceless dead. And getting down with the sickness. I could have dreamt that dread away, but oh well. Alright, let's see what Chateau Raveline wants. Chateau Raveline. The favorite stories of the... I read this already, didn't I? The favorite stories of the Comte de Raveline claim their descent from the first Sun King. Other stories have them prowling the forest in wolf shape. They are long gone. Their rotting chateau remains. Not all of its malignities have been uncovered. The remote and rotting chateau of the Comte de Raveline was looted long ago. We have found hints that it was not looted thoroughly enough. There may be a secret room. Equally, there may be a curse. Of course there may be a curse. So, Dry Soul, Heart or Lantern, and a hidden door, also Heart or Lantern. So that dread will take care of itself, so all I need to do is start banking up Heart Aspect. Probably a bit optimistic, that. Now, if I summon a percussive, don't worry, you'll get something to rest me for in a bit. We call upon the colonel, or the colonel, who cannot be denied. The colonel is a fierce hour, but a power which knows light, and he has survived worse. His power will almost certainly protect us. Now, we take these pounding airs, and hopefully it lets us summon a percussive. And who knows, maybe I'll have to kill it. Well, the curse shriveled, so all the protection was ultimately unnecessary. But such is the game we play. Better safe than sorry. Might as well start prepping that. And meanwhile, here's our percussive. And you know what? We might as well summon a second one. Childhood's End. Behind a rotting tapestry of wolves hunting men, a paneled wall. In the paneled wall, a secret door. The spring is long gone, of course. We had to smash it in with hammers. Let me retry that again. The spring is long gone, of course, so we had to smash it in with hammers. The last treasure of the Comte de Ravelin lie here, in a surprisingly airy room. High skylight windows have long since broken, and the floor is lost underneath leaves and debris. But once the place was furnished as a nursery. Here is a cradle with the skeleton of a puppy. Okay, so the Book of True Blood, the Cinnabar Amulet. That goes here. Great on oil goes here. And the Morphe Codex, which goes here. And of course the High Mysteries of the Innermost, which is in FUC. I say of course as if it's that self-evident. Anyway, back onto the city we go. Or out of the continent. The Van der Schaaf collection. A grand little museum in a provincial town, long closed to the public since an outbreak of peculiar rapture in the room where they keep the pressed flowers. Only the very curious would ever pay attention to the place, and its close-warded storeroom of ill-omened treasures. The door to the painted chamber of the Van der Schaaf collection is locked and warded. The building is said to be haunted by flowers. Meanwhile, read the Book of True Blood, or translate it at least. Okay, so the fifth eye curse, Heart or Winter. Well, we have the Winter, so that's not a problem. And this is Forge or Knock. I say not a problem, but the game begins anew. Of course he's being a jerk. And now look, I don't even have to worry about the notoriety. At least my cult's doing something right. We call upon the Forge of Day, who will end all nights. Which riddle did Kirby pose this time? Where is the queen who was not born? Also, greetings, Mr. Salty Tempest, or Mrs. Salty Tempest, or whatever you prefer. Anyway, I'm about to risk getting cursed again, so please excuse me while I juggle hard aspects. At 90% chance it's gonna fail one of these times, and then I'm gonna be happy that I'm doing this. One icy atmosphere. And oh look, I'm getting sick. Because of course I am. Holy shit, I didn't get yours. Well, don't I look paranoid now? Anyway, in the walls of the Painted Chamber carry scenes of war from all the major histories. Vienna falling to the world, the sovereigns of the Leashed Flame burning the martyr soldiers of the Knot, the martyr soldiers of the Knot Sisterhood. God damn you, Alexis Kennedy! The meeting of Alexander and the Shadowless King. Along one wall, a shelf is stuffed with junk and curiosity. A book of pressed flowers emanating a peculiar scent, 3 elderly Baedekers, a collection of butterflies painted black and white, and real treasures, an oddity in a glass case, and a cloisonné coffer of rare books. How the fuck do you pronounce that? Cloisonné is an ancient technique for decorating metalwork objects with colored material held in place or separated by metal strips or wire, normally of gold. I see. Do I know the answer to Gearby's riddle? I probably have known in the past. This is not my first rodeo in this game, but I do not currently remember it, no. I know it's one of the remaining 3 6 lores that I don't have. Straight up just rattling in the soul here. Also, I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, Paradoxical Curie. Ooh, the Geminiad. That's always an interesting book. Anyway, the Book of the True Blood. Cassius the Foeman reveals the deeds of the Unnumbered Legion, the secret army that protected Rome against the Shadowless Empire. The Legion's legate answered directly to the hour called the Tribune of Scars, and was promised immortality if he died in battle. Interesting promise. That is Phrygian. I do not speak Phrygian yet. I probably could if I really wanted to, but I don't yet. And after that, there's Key Hunter's Garret. And who knows, I might actually get cursed this time and be happy that I'm doing all this effort to not get cursed. The Key Hunter's Garret. Vienna is one of those few cities which has the same name in every history, although adepts know it as the White City, or perhaps the City of the White. In a snowy street, in a crooked house, in a high-end rattling attic, we have learned that an eccentric hunter of imaginary keys has established a tiny trove of odd books. Once in Vienna, we hear that the key hunter has not been seen for many days. A local drunk insists that a great serpent entered the house to devour them. Certainly, the house is unlit and boarded up, and there is a reptile house smell. Oh boy, an elder sister. So do we fight it or do we invoke the Mother of Ants? Either way, I'm not really equipped to deal with that as far as summons goes. So I wonder, can I change that in time? In the final part, Cassius confesses to being a former legate. He recounts his terror of the Tribune and divulges the secret lore of the Golden General, the champion of the Shadowless Empire, the enemy of the Tribune, in the hope that the Tribune will someday be underdone. The Lionsmith's names. Alright, what's next? We'll deal with the Geminiad in a bit. Okay, so the younger sister is in fact here. That Percussion is not getting summoned in time, I think. So we will just invoke the Mother of Ants. We call upon the Mother of Ants, which ariseth from wounds. Almost certainly, the serpent will respect the power we bear. And the Percussion is being a jackass. And this is why you don't rely on summons after you've already started. The Watchful Tundra. Notorious for its involvement in the deaths of Dafydd Jones and Meredith Blaine, two early physicists who each claimed to have the only copy and who ultimately fought a duel over it in 1840. Oh boy. The Tantra describes processes of occult illumination, including a formula which may show the way from the Hunter's Gate to the Serpent Gate, which in the West is usually called the Spider's Door. Alright, I'm reckless again. Time to create a smokescreen. And hey look, the serpent actually does respect the power we bear. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. It's no real point. This is not in the correct place. The sun passes through the house at the appointed time. Since the sun's division, the time has become uncertain. A Fenian invocation. I don't even know what word that is. Alright, next. This is in the wrong pile. The Morphe Codex, why not? A text of the Sisterhood of the Knot, unearthed by Evan Morphe. Oh no, I have fascination. Honestly, as long as I don't overdo it with painting, I might as well just let that get captured. Fanaean, from Fana, an island in the Aegean Sea between Greece and Turkey. Oh, thank you. Am I also saying that correctly? Because I don't think I'm saying that correctly in that case. The Morphe Codex, in which a priestess of the Sisterhood of the Knot claims to have discerned the true meaning of the Thunderskin's birth. The writer credits the Red Grail, the Ringu, and the Horned Axe, the powers the Sisterhood reveres, with agreeing a final treaty between the Hours of the House and the Hours they displaced. The Thunderskin loved the Yew, and the Grail destroyed him, as restitution for the slaying of the Horned Axe's sisters and brothers. Surely that would be Fanayan in that case. But who knows, English is strange. Even though that is most certainly not English. Probably still burn this. Mostly because, hey look, another restlessness. Now, ashes above. The room stinks of serpent musk and burnt paper. Someone has comprehensively destroyed all the records they could find. They've even scrubbed the walls clean. Cold ashes choke the fireplace. No trace of the poor soul who rented this place remains. And yet we still find treasures somehow. And after that we have to deal with the unnumbered stairs. A single corner of fire-curled paper has survived the flames. In a shaky hand, it reads Lady K, Green Chalcedony, Free Lobe. Sorry. It reads Lady K, Green Chalcedony, Free lobed spring leaves in 5. But unexpectedly, in a suitcase beside the flames, a little trove of books survives. Whoever destroyed the Key Hunter's journals saw no need to burn these books. Hooray, more books. And also more notoriety I have to deal with. The Serenity of the Black Wood. Well, this is getting sold. The Inapproachable Traditions. And On the Maptors and the Deeds of Serpents. But first, the Unnumbered Stones. The Unnumbered Game, please cooperate. Megaliths placed in obsessive, inerrant rows by priest castes long dead. Time has long erased the original bloodstains, but on moonless nights the locals supplement what remains. Hidden chambers might guard hidden treasures. Well, let's send my dead minions out. Treasure seekers visiting the stones must penetrate the forest that conceals them, grapple with the locals who revere them, and finally be prepared to do some digging, even if they can find a hidden door. Well, none of that screams curse at me, so let's fucking do this. And who knows, I might finally get the third fucking on Matthias and the Amethyst Imago. The Thunderskin entered the Mantas through the Peacock Door. Minor correction, Fana is a harbor on Chios and Chios is an island. Okay. Understandable. A privilege never given to the witch and sister, but then their merit was much less. The writer admits that entry through the Peacock Door is unseemly, but insists that under the circumstances there was no other way. Okay, so Watchers, Forest, and Door. We're not spending on the colors of night, there's no point. The Inapproachable Traditions. Sounds like it might be... Actually, that sounds horse-like. The Inapproachable Traditions of the Society of the Noble Endeavor. In Latin. Oh, that's definitely Lander. We call upon the moth, who seeks among the trees of the woods. Unfortunately, the hunter didn't find any evidence. There's something... Well... Found our way through the forest. One down. And what does my... Nope. The Inapproachable Traditions of the Society of the Noble Endeavor. The members of the Society of the Noble Endeavor adopted noble names at their initiation: Parzival, Roland, Oisin. They drew their inspirations from the Leashed Flame, which gave the island of Britain such appalling power in some histories. One Samuel Partridge has chronicled their efforts. Okay, so this is definitely about Forge then. Their endeavor was no less noble. A furious arcane conflagration which would refine them into something more than human. But such transformations are rare, and they often ended less nobly in ashes. I'm gonna need more money anyway. You know what? Time to sell out, and I'm not just doing this to make it easy. But I don't really want to do a port. And I'm not just doing this to make it easier for my earnest conversations to actually target the notoriety. Might as well do that. I'm just gonna throw in extra funds in here just for safety. Partridge claims to have identified consistent features among those who ascended. All of them had passed the stag door, and were accounted no. All of them spoke the Caladate invocation, or a greater rite, at the start of their ascension, and all of them were rich. Only an ardent arisen? Seriously? That's disappointing. The Serenity of the Blackwood, an allegorical history of the House of Leven, who it is here implied were inspired by the centipede. Sereno Blackwood is an occult alias to this day. Not often I see the masculine form of Serena. Where did that restlessness go? Well shit, the Watchers won, and this is why I sent extra money. Not that I really care if one of my dead die, they're dead. What are they gonna do? Give me dread? I am gonna have to, however, have to send an actual disciple there. Did he actually eat the notoriety? Nice! Holy shit, that actually worked. The proverbial footloose gathers travelers in a wood and leads them through, but abandons them part way. They find themselves beset by glorious monsters. I could probably have done something about this. Oh well. Not the end of the world, I suppose. Well, turns out I still can do something about it. The travelers discovered they can survive if they close their eyes. They adopted a closed eye as their sign, and that they can go unnoticed if they drink from the clear cold streams. They never forget that proverbial footloose, a centipede, but they never forgive her either. A centipede testament. Guys, all I'm trying to find is some mid-tier... I know where it is, it's in these fucking books, but Jesus, guys. Alright, only the door remains. So I guess I'll send in the knock brigade. Oh no, I've become sick again. We call upon the beach crow who sees what is lost. The High Mysteries of the Innermost. The High Mysteries of the Innermost Chamber of our Church Solar. Secret rites of the Church of the Unconquered Sun, which held power in at least 2 histories. I know I could just combine some of these lower tier aspects, but quite frankly, I don't fucking want to. Because that would be a giant hassle. I mean, realistically, I could also read 2 of these books, but you know, they are a set of 3. Hey, Valen. The church chiefly worshipped the sun and splendor, the original, undivided sun. But this text also includes the devotions of its aspects in the chilly winter dawn and the departing sunset, as well as the Meniscan, the sun's night self. Priests of the church were all male, but rites were also included which allowed women to cross ceremonially to manhood. Alright, time to sell out on some restlessness. Do I have any overexposure? Nope. Two cults that make exceptions for the other sex. What do you mean, 2? Does the Sisterhood have... I don't know if I just don't remember it anymore, or does the Sisterhood have the same provisions? Beneath the stone. The moonlight bleaches the grass to winter. All around the stone saloon. Here in the tumulus side, beneath the turf, is a stone that will rise like a trapdoor. We must put our backs into it. There was a saint, there was a guy, and he sacrificed himself for the Sisterhood. I'm gonna take your word for it, but I don't remember it. The chamber inside the tumulus has half collapsed from the years of fat. Fat white spiders crawl from the touch of our lamplight, insolently slow. The stone reliefs are cracking and dripping, but here is the offering hole still, with its tragedies. Xantophic asks, and now my entire thing is gonna start crossing over itself again. Which is probably a sign that I should do something about that. Has the game tried to kill me with fascination yet? I mean, it succeeded last time. If I remember correctly. The church's highest rites were performed in the concursum, the chamber at the Monsas' heart, where the hours were known to pass. The rites include salutations to non-solar hours, the Grail, the Ringu, the Horned Axe, and the Tundus. Okay. Well, this is around the same time, really. I died by glory. Yeah, that's what fascination is. I'm gonna have to shift all of this sideways, aren't I? Nope! That is not a specific curse. That is just what happens when your head gets too deep into the fascination. When the other world starts dominating you so much that the real world leaves you. The Geminiad, a fragile manuscript illuminated with twin shapes of sad and luminous beauty, and with all the phases of the moon. It might be as old as the 7th century, but the language, if you've seen, is much older. Coral decorates its cover, and its sharp page edges are sharp enough to slash a throat. That might be a bad idea, actually. Well, never mind. They found... I don't want to do this with the voiceless dead. I mean, fortunately, I don't really have to, but... Time for Mr. Cult Hunter to be a jerk. These pages outline the nature and the doctrines of an hour that demands the union of what is at rest, an hour that is sought at the water's edge and beneath the moon, the witch and sister. The language is naughty, poetic, willful. It'll take some untangling. I always wondered what was so special about the Geminiad. I will say that the game has tried to get me arrested a couple of times, and I barely averted it. Oh boy, I'm seeing things. Oh well, that will solve itself. Hey zombie, can you take care of that evidence for me? The dead are quite devious in their schemes. Oh hey, I forgot that was a thing. So we are trying to explore the land beyond the forest across the continent, but instead we're getting distracted by a cruise ship. I don't actually have enough... The Geminiad reminds us that the witch and sister has been known to manifest as a sister and witch, and that this face may heal while the other face is always hungry. It implies connections between the witch and sister and the Hours of the Wood, especially the secret keeper cult of Elven. but it is ambiguous on whether the witch and sister is a wood hour proper, and it speaks at length about the sadness of the two who are one, the sadness that remains from their time as flesh. The Rite of the Crow's Quenching, the Geminiad, but just as a tool for some reason, Moldy Warp Admonitions, Fiatic Invocation, and of course Geminiad Invocation. And now I'm out of books to read that are not part of a sequence, which is kind of irritating. What do I need to upgrade these? Erudition, that can be achieved. I have to make a painting that is full of passion but completely boring in all other aspects. Somehow it is completely passionate and also utterly uninspired. Hebe is a ship. In fact, many ships have borne that name over the centuries. All of them have provided transport and accommodation to those who know something of the invisible world, and none of them show up in shipping records. But I've learned that the steamer Hebe Stanton is docking soon in a grimy and unregarded port in the northern island. I could send someone to purloin unwatched occult luggage. I'm just gonna let that decay. And actually, I have some commissions I could do. Let's try and subverting the glorious lore. The magus Julian Kozely claims the Forge of Day split the sun. Perhaps he was right. Wisdom is a country, and these are its ments. Salar NFT. All my random crap seems to have gotten some attention. There are arts in Forge which may split even the sun. I have subverted my lantern lord to Forge. A shaping chant. Well, that's not what I wanted. The proper words must be employed when the change comes. I mean, I can't even do an Iguvine right because then I won't have the Iguvine right anymore and that'll bother me. I guess I can make a painting of the Forge of Days now, though. But first, I need to get rid of that passion. That restlessness. Oh. Wait, where did that even come from? Oh! Was I using it before? I'm confused. Somehow I managed to confuse myself, and I'm not sure how. Because I wasn't summoning anything, so where was I using it? Oh, for the commission, you're right. God damn, I can be oblivious sometimes. The Tower of Egg, and this one I'm not using yet. Yeah, for Popular Cell. Yeah, you're right. Let's fish some more secret histories. See if I can't do something a little bit silly. So, out of curiosity, if I add enough lantern of all things. So, I do need to visit the strange streets then, to do that in the correct order. Because I have a lantern tool I could use, which would then break, but that's fine. Yeah, screw that. I just realized I can finally work on Madame Bechet's commission. Well, don't need the strange streets anymore. That works. You. Oh, I need more knock than that. Huh. Well, that's on me for celebrating my victories too early. I wouldn't be able to upgrade this anyway now that I think about it. Oh, I don't want that. That's better. Oh, right. Need to keep them in check. That is unideal. I don't think this can give me threat, can it? Study the lore which opens. There are incantations of unsealing, where the space between the words is as potent as the actual syllables. When a thing is opened, we will know its nature. Any lore studied with knock becomes knock. I don't often pay for paint, but in this case I kind of have to. Oh, that is not okay. Why do I need to have both timers ticking? I gotta be really concerned about it. And oh look, more restlessness. Okay, so the crisis has been mitigated a little, but it is still not okay. That might have been a bad decision. That is definitely a bad decision. Please don't screw me over. Okay, so this should dissolve this, turn that into fleeting reminiscence, which will decrease this. And I can just let dread pile up now. So the worst has come to pass. Oh, and some free dread to help with that too. Nice. Okay, that was kind of close for comfort for a second there. A consent of wounds. Well, not sure that will be helping me, but that sure exists now. Yep. Which of course is the one I actually want. So I either persist in my stubbornness or I bite the bullets. I could also... see what the Hebestanten has to say. Or I guess I could also summon Teresa. If the Grail will ever leave me alone. I'll take it. That is not what I wanted to do, but thank you. The knight needs no colors. Oh, for fuck's sake. That is unideal. Oh well. Let's see if we can go a little bit crazier. Speaking of crazier, hello. Why not? Apply pressure to the skin of the world and it will part like the skin of a ripe fruit. Oh look, I'm going crazy again. What a surprise. If only I could actually do something with it to replace that. Actually, I do have contentment. Hang on, does that work? Surely it doesn't, right? Like, no, it needs to be actual Lantern Lord. Don't need that anymore. Speaking of which... Alright, let's try this again. A subtle rapture, not the consent of wounds, the forbidden epic, and a noonstone. With enough lantern, a significant degree of knock. How many of these do you need, ma'am? Ugh. It's probably 10 forbidden epic, isn't it? Well, that was a failure. I don't know if I can be spoiled too much. Is it that this needs to be 10? Because I feel like it's that this needs to be 10. I should know this well enough. I know what I'm trying to summon, so go ahead. Is it the lantern then? Oh, so it's a lantern that needs to be 10. Got it. Well, that can be arranged, I think. Actually, can that be arranged? That is kind of tricky. Actually, no it's not. I do have the paradoxical curio, so I can do it that way. 10 lantern, 5 knock, and 2 secret histories. That's fair. That's easy enough. That can be arranged. Thanks. Let's see. Right on the map search, use that as an offering, use this as an invocation, and use the paradoxical curio. A mighty force of lantern to draw the Beldomerian's attention, and a teasing taste of secrets to bring her closer. And I'm just gonna make sure that the fascination doesn't get out of control. Yeah, you also have it with fleeting reminiscence. True. The funny thing is, I'm not entirely sure what I'm planning on doing with her. Oh god, there that is again. The Baldomerian has the hunched shoulders of a scholar, the clear voice of a school teacher, and the freckles of a traveler on the continent. She lacks a shadow. Here she is. Oh, the world is flat. Oh, but it's flat. I won't stay long. I shan't stay long. Tell me a secret. Alright, she speaks Fusine. I already know Fusine. This was entirely pointless. Why did I bring you here? Let's just get rid of that before it becomes a problem. I know the colonel's name, so what if I... Well, I don't really need a hinter, so how about I summon a maid in the mirror instead? Yeah, basically. That is essentially what that came down to. I confused her with, who am I thinking of? Azim and King Crimson, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, King Crucible. Like I said, I have played this game before. The problem is that I don't remember things very well, and I usually don't bother with flavor text. And that is one of the things that I decided I would be doing on this journey I embarked on, was actually bothering with the flavor text. But how about we summon a maid in the mirror, and we send two of you, and we send both of you on a cruise vacation. The Hibistat, a battered but surprisingly plush steamer, much used by actors fleeing scandal, by shy millionaires, by occult scholars who feel safer with moving water under them, and, just once, by the Ligeia Club, who chartered the whole ship for the use of 7 cabins. It is rare for a passenger vessel to visit the grim island where the heavy Stanton is docking, but we can charter a fishing boat and trust the sea behaves. The real work of passing guards and doors will begin if we get on board. I can't wait for that to turn into a disaster. Kind Crimson wouldn't be a bad name for a Zeme though. You know what? You're not wrong. But it would be too similar to King Crucible. I had a thought and now that thought is vanished. It's not a disaster until I get cursed. Honestly, the curses wouldn't be the worst disaster either. At least I don't have to give a shit if either of these two eat it. Oh, also the maid in the middle. The ascent is glass. The walls are knives. Each step is blood. The dead who rest before a new cracked mirror, who pass through the peacock gate, who master the sharp stair, those dead enter the service of the sun in rags. And oh look. So, the sea, Heart of Forge, Watchers, and then Forge or Knock. So I am going to have to send some Forge. I was about to make a naughty painting, but I guess instead I'll just make a painting that prevents me from growing. Actually, no I'm not. I'm just gonna let that decay. The Sailor's Surety. Our forge skills present plenty of expertise will almost certainly make it through. Some bitter black salts. Also, guess I won't be getting cursed today. A worthy medium. Dark rains, properly treated, yield fiery color. No ordinary chemist could produce these clark-gleaming crystals, not without the touch of the forge. A painting of the Forge of Days for my collection. If the forge could regret, it would regret the intercolored, but in all its other work, it knows joy. Fun fact about paintings, you don't need to paint lore to get the unique paintings, you just need to paint something with enough of that aspect. Yeah, the problem is, I'm not giving tools to my followers, so where else am I gonna get that? Disciples have enough of the... Do they? I thought you needed to get to 10. Because it does require the pigment. But I guess the threshold isn't 10 then, it's 8 or 9? But while we have this influence, might as well see if I can summon something with it. If I add winter, I might summon something smoky, so what would... Summon a creature of smoky deception. Forge for the smoky spirit's summoning, winter for its binding. It must know who will rule it. Well, at least Leo ate the notoriety, so I will not be getting arrested quite yet. Meanwhile, the maid in the mirror killed the Watchers. But I mean, I can certainly try it. I mean, it's also not like I need the fucking painting. The Caligan. At the corners of the forge, in the bounds of the monsters, the glorious fire meets the baser elements. Here is a cunning vapor to infect your enemy's dreams. Not exactly what I was looking for, but I guess I can put you under the knife again. So, if I do winter, I summon the exact same thing again. What was the other one? I need a great power of forge. Okay, so I need 10 forge, is what I'm guessing I'm reading. Okay, got it. That does make sense. Ah, thing is. Whatever, it's probably not gonna work anyway. But since you are a moth creature, might as well make use of you. Well, good luck with that. You didn't find any notoriety, and you're not an addict, so good luck with that. I might have a better use for restlessness. Probably, but, you know. I think you can use it for summonings, but that would also imply that I knew what to fucking summon. Actually, no, I'm not trying to send a Calicat. What? Well, not like that. The sunset rite. I need to sort these fucking rites. That's just a raw profit. I don't really need a raw profit, do I? Restlessness has 2 forge and 2 lantern. True, true. cozy nest. There are few passengers on board. No wonder if this cheerless icy isle was this ship's destination. But there's at least one passenger, someone who had protected their cabin door with more than physical locks. They must have gone ashore. They might return at any moment. We empty the luggage, upend the books to shake them, turn pictures to check the backs. We find clothes, tickets, maps. Nothing out of the ordinary. Although there is a curious translucent material like a sheet of snakeskin draped over a chair back. At last, when we slash the mattress to search its stuffing, we find a collection of ivory scroll cases. The fire circle tantra? It's a bunch of tantra. And I feel like I know what most of these are gonna be about. But first, the Kuznetsov endowment. Prince Kuznetsov gave one fourth part of his blood-soaked fortune to the establishment of a department of eschatology. Can I get a Google search on that one? At this provincial university. The staff have grown peculiar now, and the buildings fester in a freezing swamp. But some of Kuznetsov's bequest, perhaps, was spent on treasure. Study of the apocalypse. The journey to the endowment buildings is not long, but the ground is difficult. We have sent 3 times for permission to visit and received a less friendly answer each time. No doubt the staff will attempt to forbid our entry. Well, that is the wrong kind of attention. Okay, so, treacherous ground, hidden door. Well, I guess I'm sending trees after all. The end is nigh, but it's your thesis paper. I'm sure theses have been written about that, actually, Valen. Let's intentionally grab some restlessness. And now the right of the map's edge. This, that, you. And now we summon one of the name emanations of the Forge of Things. King Crucible will come only when the room aglows with the aspect called Forge. He also requires a lantern for the light of the glory that he claims to know. I don't know what name emanation means exactly. Like, I know what a name is, but maybe I'm reading too deep into that. Optimism is the spice that saves lives, except none in this case. Time to endanger one of my people. I think it's just a way of saying he's a name directly under the forge. That does make sense. Like I said, maybe I was just reading too deeply into it. Holy shit, he's not rebelling either. He can hide in a candle flame if he must, but here he is in all his bonfire pomp. After I speak with him, the skin of my face and hands will be pinks as if from too much sun. King Crucible. In the desert I wait, in the ruins I burn. Metal is water, stone is wax, flesh is smoke. Enter be, and be no longer. And he speaks Deep Mandaic. So we will study it with it. Together we will commemorate the tongue of the unburnt god. But first, my Aramaic will serve as a foundation. I will learn everything I can. I just realized I could have been reading these scrolls. Ah, how easily I get distracted sometimes. Well, I am a little safer now. So I'm gonna start with the Leonine Tantra. In the most notorious translation of the Leonine Tantra, Ashley Phillips is listed as the translator, but their existence is explicitly denied in the prologue. This confusion is characteristic of books which mention the Great Hooded Princess. That sounds like it might be Nock, actually, but fuck it, I have said that I would read it, and therefore we shall. My collection of stuff is starting to sprawl over itself a little. There's also Grail in there, isn't there? Can I? Well, I can certainly try, I guess. The Tantra describes, elliptically, the Great Hooded Princess and the multitudinous ways in which they influenced wars against foreign invaders of the land of the Great River, although in a sense they were also invaders. Oh, logistical difficulties. Good thing I caught that in time. I still think it's funny what happens in the medium run with this dude, which you either know or you don't know, and therefore I will not elaborate on any further. I forgot about whatever. That can take away, it's fine. Alright. Do you want me to talk about it? Lions can be created, not as children are created, nor as words are created, but as weapons are created. The Great Hooded Princes learned to create lions from their spyings on the affairs of the hours, and not all lions now serve the Golden General. Okay, in that case I shall hold my peace. The Fire Circle Tundra. This one known, God damn it, Dojel. The one known extant copy of this in Western Europe was stolen from the British Library in 1892. One Harvey Hattington confessed to the crime and claimed to have eaten it with butter and garlic in a moment of ungovernable whimsy. And yet we have it. That was probably slightly too early. So presumably the island isn't in the west. Which island are you referring to exactly? The one the Hibistanton stopped at. It is across the continent in the land beyond the forest. What exactly that means isn't clear. I would assume that in a literal interpretation that means somewhere in the eastern lands. The library ceiling collapsed years ago. Many of the books have been reduced to swollen pulp by dripping water. Something must remain. But also, it's one of those things where it's probably an island that doesn't really exist. You can get the Hibistanton from any secret histories lore, even the occult school. Really? I've always gotten it from the Forbidden Epic, I feel like. I could be wrong, but somewhere around this time. That might just be a probability thing though, so. Herein, the Great Hooded Princes are shown besieging the wood, to rise and devour an invading Timurid army. The Dapple King, the Honey Tree, and the Sea Twins all deny their request, until they enlist the help of a burrowing secret keeper. Okay, so the Moth, the Velvet, and the Witch and Sister and Witch. I guess just the twins is an easier way of talking about them. I mean, I'm assuming this is the Velvet. I don't exactly know for sure. You've gotten it from occult scraps and Port Noon anecdotes. Got it. A portrait of a genially smiling man, dark skin, bright eyes, neither hair nor eyebrows, watches over the ruined library. It is titled Don't Mind Me and signed with an indecipherable serpentine scrawl. The paint is peeling. It watches us with its benevolent smile as we find intact treasures among the swollen books on the shelves. Getting it from the first Port Noon anecdote is so goddamn frustrating. What do you mean? Because Port Noon anecdotes are annoying to make. I guess that is self-explanatory. In the days of the great power of the Turks, a man of power ruled here. Over many years he fed many thirsts, until his own thirst overcame him. I have learned that both his treasures and his victims may remain in an untouched vault below the castle. Okay, so that is definitely Winter and Edge, and I'll just send Therese up with him. The Voivoda's cast vault will be hidden well, and if the stories are true, his victims may not rest peacefully in the dark behind the citadel's walls. Voivoda, one of those. A book in few scene. A book in not good. Holy shit, the third. I can finally start reading these. And also, my collection of books is starting to collapse in on itself. And another book in Foreseen. I forgot that most Foreseen books are named after metals. These don't exactly have a clear order, except like... So I'm just gonna interpret the order as this way. Okay, so Fretful Dead and a hidden door. I don't need the Callaghan, I guess, but... Oh. I do need him for that. Armed with blackmail material from the burrowing Secret Keeper, the Great Hooded Princes petition the powers of the wood for a second time, and are successful. 1/4 of the Timurid army is devoured by bees, 1/4 drowns themselves, and 1/4 disrobe themselves until nothing remains. Jeez. Just gonna send an extra funds, just in case they need any. So either I'm now screwing myself, or I am not. That seems kind of redundant to say, and yet I have chosen to say it that way. In other words, either that succeeds, or I might be screwing myself. And it succeeds, so I am lucky. I'm having some better luck with this than last time. Okay, on Matthias and the Amethyst Imago, an account of an occult romance. A certain Para, son of Aaron, claims to have written this in a single day and a single night as part of his initiation into the Damascene branch of the Order of the House of Leyte, that tight disciplined order of immortals who reject their past and future. The laws of the house forbade Matthias to love. The customs of the wood forbade the Imago to remain, so he conjured her a final time. I feel like that's the wrong one then. We cast Matthias out, and we pronounced a curse upon the Amethyst Imago, but we watched them in dreams. We saw them pledge themselves to the forge, to change themselves and ascend anew. Into the fire they fly. Oh, and this one is a certain how the fuck? A certain Iavogos claims to have written this in a single night as part of his initiation into the Alpine branch of the House of Leyte. That order of immortals that would not pledge themselves to any hour. Real talk, I'm probably reading them in the wrong order, but at this point, I'm just gonna read this one last. This is the first of the practices that the Imago and Matthias used to begin their ascent to power. They have risen beyond our sight, but their flames may yet burn in the Meliari. A shaping chest. Too bad I already made it. Matthias defied us. Okay, wait. An account of an occult romance. A certain mech claims to have written this in a single night as part of his initiation into the Theban branch of the House of Lete, that order of immortals who use the arts of water to conceal themselves. Matthias defied us to hunt the names of the moth in the wood, to populate his pinned collection. The Amethyst Imago had dallied with the witch and sister, but she'd returned to the wood to plead the moth's pardon. The moth, as a whim or a penance, sent her out to lure the long to a slough of nightmares. Damn, what has Slough ever done to you, game? Can I try? Alright, that's just a Grail Prophet. Never mind then. Let's just turn it into a painting. Matthias loved the Imago. Did he? Can Long love, or has that organ of their soul desiccated beyond repair? The Imago loved Matthias. Did she, or did she only enact out a whim? He pursued her through the wood, but at the last she turned aside from the nightmare slough, and they lay together where the bounds grow bright. So they learned the Grail's pleasures, and this is the lore they won. And now finally, loss. The laws of the house forbade Matthias to love. The customs of the wood forbade the Imago to remain. So he conjured her a final time when she had uncovered the shears of Akapura, and she suffered him to cut the wings from her back, so that she might remain, and he suffered her to cut the parts which hold man's seed, to keep them from the detestable act. This was love in all its blood and joy. We have cast out Matthias from the house. Dang. The empty tomb. Here is the Voivoda's mausoleum. Swagged cobwebs hang like soft grey drapes. A great sandstone sarcophagus stands upright at the far end. It's empty. Someone has left a little heap of treasures before the sarcophagus like an offering. There are no footprints in the dust. Whoever left them came here long ago, or else has no need to touch the ground when they pass. Okay. So, even more fucking books. Honestly, why don't it just... A wakeful tympanum. I'm gonna need to summon Azim soon, aren't I? And meanwhile, the Tower of Revek. The blasted stump of a building. The air festers. Whatever power destroyed this place still clings. Only one floor remains above ground, but we suspect more space below. We will have to search assiduously to find whatever treasures might remain. and if the tower was truly destroyed in a battle between adepts, dangerous influences may still cling to it. In other words, prepare to get fucking cursed. Fun fact. Oh! Oh, Vlad the Impaler. Got it. I just didn't know the word voivode, to be honest. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. The right of the map's edge was given to us by the Vagabond. It is the right that Matthias used to summon the Amethyst Imago, but like many summoning rites, it could be used to conjure almost any entity given the appropriate tool and the appropriate influence. Use it gently in memory of the name and the long who suffered these agonies, that they might be joined. Unfortunately, I already knew the right of the map's edge. Incandescent, that's Forge. That is Knock. Let's translate the Gospel of Zacchaeus then. A lost early Christian text in Greek. I also already knew the Ecdysius parable. True! True, the words, an attempt to answer the riddle of what may be lost. Of course, the one fucking sixth lore I don't have is the one which answers, where is the queen who was not born? Creeping Breath, Heart and Grail, Lantern and Knock. Actually, screw it. An extremely heterodox account of the Nazarene Messiah and his works, describing his ascension to the mountains through the opening of his body. 7 were the wounds of his body, 7 the doors of the house, 7 the lesser aspects of the hours, and Knock the aspect above all. For the mother of ants is the mother of salvation. I see. Well, it's only fair that we offend everyone. I wonder if that's actually true. Yeah, no kidding. It reminds me of a different DLC thing that I will briefly mention. While I try to build up as much insurance as possible. Yeah, heterodox is indeed an understatement when confronted with that. I don't need to send to Cyprians. We call upon the red grail which gives life. The book includes a description of a rite which can be used to raise a corpse to half-life, in memory of he who bled for the wood. It requires a corpse and sufficient power. The offer suggests an invocation of Winterlord and an assistant touched by the powers of the wood. "26 enticements, 7 thorn." That is Fusin, that is not Latin dojo. The painter Niels Friedrich Malskar notoriously attempted a series of paintings based on the torments. By the 5th torment, the demands of the painting had grown so dire that he died of blood loss. The diagrams in this text are thankfully less detailed. Safe for now, eh? Well, I'm not getting cursed tonight. And I should probably stop importing books for now. Before my storage scheme collapses entirely. Long-delayed conclusion. Beneath the tower is a cramped cellar with cracked slate walls. The proportions, it should be a perfect cube, but somehow there are too many corners. Blue light festers at the junction of ceiling and wall. The floor flexes, slowly like the skin of a bubble. It echoes to a stamped foot. What spaces open beneath? I swear to God, one of these fucking books will answer the goddamn riddle. Either I have overlooked something, or I have gotten majorly screwed by RNG. Bundle the book into a sack. Hurry up the hot hand. Nah, let me suffer. It's fine. Hurry up the handholds to the tower stump. The sky above ripples with a cobalt aurora. The hills around are washed with shudders of blue light. There is a high and singing sound from the stones of the tower as we leave. Lightning cracks from the sky, and suddenly everything is silent. The tower stump is gone. The Furious Tantra. Hey, this might have the things we need. And another book in vac. Thanks for asking, though. Alright, Teresa, I guess you can go home now. I have abused your services long enough. As later transcribed by the medium and pyrotechnician Jacob Oliver Top Mugglestone. Tradition has it that he found it seared in the bark of an oak by lightning. His tantra describes the uses and dangers of anger. It cautions that anger does not always survive transformations. Now that you mention it, that is indeed a story in itself. That is quite the exotic life you live there. Teresa is resting. The Baldemarian has retreated to the Sage Knight's Lodge to rest. Interesting that you can still go to the Sage Knight's Lodge while she's here. And the card pool hasn't changed. So somehow she's in two places at once. Or, you know, this is a video game. Honestly, am I better off not doing this? A full moon appears. Creatures are reborn and even a lizard should not be slain, for it could be you. Of all the people in this game, wouldn't you expect her to be the one who could be in two places at once? You know what? Wait, the hell? Am I stupid? Okay, let's go over them one at a time. Who could hear this and remain unmoved? The sleeping, the dead, the young, the sky. What is a riddle? Where is the queen who was not born? One could listen. Oh, no, not those, because that is. Mercy is found only in shadow. Ugh. God damn it. Well, try them one by one again. Not the answer. Not the answer either. Well, shit. Now I really gotta figure out what the fuck Kirby wants. Well, the age-old tradition of entering things until... Are you fucking shitting me? Why did I... A story of a city without a gate, of a queen who was not born, of a war which was... Why did I even... I feel so stupid. Well, her heart is buried in another history. Fuck me. Well, I guess I might as well read the rest of them then. I knew it was on the 6th line. Because all the riddle answers are on the 6th line. I just didn't think that it could actually be a Secret Histories riddle. Anyway, the enticement of the Grail outnumbers its torments, but its torments are its final nature. Birth is the first torment, and thirst the seventh. Oh look, fascination. Well, that's less ideal. Now, if I am lucky, I can maneuver my... Entering the stag door. The stag door is the Adept's Gate. To pass it is to be initiated into the first true mystery of the House of the Sun. The head, Kirby, weeps to see me enter, where it cannot, but it must let me pass. The scarred valves of the door grind open. Well, congratulations, guys. We are finally among the know. Only took 5 streams, I think. That's fine. Through the enumeration of the Grail's enticements and torments winds the sorrowful history of the witches of the Dry Land, the ordeals of the birth from the 2 wombs, their struggle from and supplication of the Grail, and the yearning for union which drives them all. The formulae voluptuous. And now we are at the stag door. I don't really want a trembling heat, so let's go to the ascendant stairs and find ourselves a bitter atmosphere. I forgot that solving the riddle gives you an extra reason. And a Forgotten Chronicle, even. Oh no, wait, that's what I used to solve the riddle. Let's see. Now, before I end this, gotta make sure that I'm not at risk of losing my run. Which means I would like this notoriety to go away, thank you. Meanwhile, oh, that's not right. Meanwhile, let's read the Iron Book. A manual of the Ordo Limiae, an order of quasi-immortals who maintains a secret enclave at the source of the river Libya, in the Roman province of Hispania Gallica. Galicia, even. Optimism is the spice that saves lives, literally in this case. Well, shit has officially calmed down enough that I am no longer in acute danger. And it's 5 o'clock, so... I'm going to ask, so finish with reading this, and then we're gonna end up. This manual had was compiled by one Melirai Yivni, who claims to have traveled to join the Ordo from the crossroads of the waters. Members of the Ordo took an oath, the Iron Chain, that required them to remain hidden from the world. The manual includes presumably long obsolete addresses and passphrases that could have been used to find the Ordo's contact in the town of Iria. Meanwhile, trial by my script, please. The usual suspects aren't online, so I guess we can always go back to Nadian. You know what? I haven't raided Sly yet. Let's say hi to Sly. Sly is doing Final Fantasy stuff. So, Sly is a decent fella. There's not much to say about him other than that. He's pretty nice to hang out with. He's doing Final Fantasy, so if you enjoyed that, go hang out with him. I would like to thank everyone who came and watched me. I would like to thank Salty Tempest and Phelan for keeping me company. And as always, don't be a stranger, because that's my job. I'll see you next time.